Criminology and Sociology of Deviance. Crime and deviance are subjects that have fascinated human beings for centuries. Why do people break laws? Why do some actions become crimes in one society but are acceptable in another? Why do certain groups face more punishment than others for similar behaviors? These questions are at the heart of criminology and the sociology of deviance. To understand them, we must look not only at individuals but also at society as a whole, because what we call crime and deviance is shaped by social norms, culture, and power. Criminology is the scientific study of crime, its causes, its consequences, and the ways society responds to it. It explores who commits crimes, why they do so, and how crime can be prevented. On the other hand, the sociology of deviance focuses on behaviors that go against social norms, whether or not they are illegal. Deviance includes acts like lying, cheating, or dressing unusually, as well as serious crimes like theft or murder. In short, criminology looks at the study of crime, while the sociology of deviance studies the wider idea of rule-breaking and how society reacts to it. Every society has rules and norms that tell people how to behave. When someone breaks these rules, society labels their actions as deviant. However, what counts as deviant behavior is not universal. It changes across time and place. For example, drinking alcohol is normal in many countries but forbidden in some cultures. Similarly, certain clothes or hairstyles once seen as rebellious have become fashionable today. This shows that deviance is not just about behavior, it is also about how society defines and reacts to that behavior. One of the earliest sociologists to study deviance was Emil Durkheim. He argued that deviance is not always harmful, in fact, it plays a necessary role in society. According to Durkheim, when people break the rules, society reacts by reinforcing its shared values and boundaries. This reaction reminds others of what is acceptable and what is not. Durkheim also said that too much control or too little control in society can both lead to deviance. When social rules break down, people feel disconnected and lost, a condition he called anomie. In such situations, deviance and crime increase because individuals no longer feel guided by common moral standards. Other thinkers expanded on these ideas. Robert Merton developed the strain theory, suggesting that people commit crimes when they cannot achieve socially approved goals through legitimate means. For example, if society values wealth and success but some individuals lack access to good education or jobs, they may turn to illegal ways such as theft or fraud to achieve those goals. In this sense, crime can be seen as a response to social inequality and pressure rather than just personal evil. The labeling theory takes a different approach. It argues that deviance is not the act itself but the label society attaches to it. When someone is called a criminal or deviant, that label can shape how others treat them and how they see themselves. For example, if a young person is labeled as a troublemaker, they may begin to believe it and continue acting that way. Labeling theory helps explain how stigma and social reaction can turn minor offenses into lifelong problems for individuals, especially for marginalized groups. Conflict theory, influenced by Karl Marx, looks at deviance and crime through the lens of power and inequality. It argues that laws are made by those in power to protect their own interests. The poor and powerless are often punished more harshly, while the crimes of the rich, such as corporate fraud or political corruption, are sometimes ignored or hidden. This theory reveals that justice is not always equal, it depends on one's position in society. The control theory, proposed by Travis Hershey, focuses on why people obey laws rather than why they break them. He believed that strong social bonds with family, school, and community prevent deviance. When these connections weaken, people feel less tied to society and more likely to commit crimes. This shows that preventing crime is not only about policing but also about building strong relationships and communities. Criminology also explores the role of environment and opportunity. The broken windows theory, for example, suggests that visible signs of disorder, like graffiti, vandalism, or litter, create an atmosphere that encourages more serious crimes. This idea has influenced policing strategies that focus on maintaining order in public spaces. However, critics say this approach can lead to unfair targeting of poor communities. The sociology of deviance goes beyond crime to understand how society reacts to any form of difference or rule-breaking. It studies how people who do not fit social norms, such as the homeless, addicts, or those with unconventional lifestyles, are treated. These reactions often reveal society's values, fears, and prejudices. For example, people may judge or exclude others simply because they live differently, showing how deviance is tied to social control and moral judgment. Modern criminology also examines how media and technology shape perceptions of crime. News and entertainment often exaggerate violence, creating fear and stereotypes. Certain groups, especially minorities or the poor, may be portrayed as more criminal, reinforcing bias and discrimination. Meanwhile, white-collar crimes that harm millions financially receive less attention. This imbalance in representation shows how crime is as much a social construction as it is a legal category. Understanding criminology and the sociology of deviance helps us see that crime is not just about bad people doing bad things. It is a reflection of deeper social issues such as inequality, lack of opportunity, discrimination, and moral conflict. When we address these root causes, we can build a fairer and safer society. Instead of focusing only on punishment, we should work on prevention, education, social justice, and rehabilitation. In conclusion, criminology and the sociology of deviance remind us that deviance is part of every society and that it cannot be understood without looking at the broader social context. Laws, norms, and values change over time, and so do our definitions of crime and morality. By studying these patterns, we learn not only about criminals but also about ourselves, our fears, beliefs, and the kind of world we want to create. If you found this explanation helpful and would like to learn more about the fascinating world of sociology, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue sharing educational content that makes complex social ideas easy to understand for everyone.